Hello grade 9 students and welcome to a new English lesson. In this lesson we are going to revise the rules we studied in modules 8, 9 and 10. So let's get started. Please have a look at our learning objectives for today. Let's begin now with rule number 1, necessity and lack of necessity. For necessity we use must, have to and need to in present, while we use had to in the past. And for lack of necessity, we use don't have to, don't need to, and needn't. So let's now choose the correct answer in the following sentences. Sentence number 1, you don't need to or mustn't buy any sports equipment. The ski school will provide everything. As you can see in this sentence, there is no need to buy any sports equipment because the school will provide everything. This is called lack of necessity. And for lack of necessity, we use don't need to. In sentence number 2, you need or must be over 15 to take part in the race. So here, there is necessity to be over 15 to take part in the race. The best answer here is must, while need in this choice doesn't include to, so it's not the correct answer. In sentence number 3, I must or had to take a taxi home last night because the buses were on strike. This sentence is in the past because it talks about last night. And for necessity in the past, we use had to. Now let's move to rule number 2, the passive voice in the present simple or the past simple. Before we start, let's remember the following points. Number 1, we have to pay attention to the time, whether it's in the present or in the past. Number 2, we have to pay attention to the subject, whether it's plural or singular. Number 3, we have to use a suitable form of be, is or are in the present, and was or were in the past. Then we change the verb in brackets into the past participle. Let's begin with sentence number 1. 80,000 tickets sell for last night's match. This sentence is in the past, last match. And the subject here is tickets, which is plural. For plural in the past, we use were followed by the past participle form of sell, which is sold. In sentence number 2, both English and French teach at my son's school. This sentence is in the present because here we are talking about a fact about the school, that it teaches both English and French. And the subject here is both English and French, which is plural. So the best answer is are taught. In sentence number 3, this event organized in a different city every year. We are talking about something that happens every year, which is a fact. So we use the present simple. Then the subject here, event, is singular. So the best answer is organized. In rule number 3, we have to use infinitives, full and bare infinitive, and the ing form of the verb. But before we start, we have to remember to pay attention to the words before the space. So let's have a look at number 1. Unfortunately, we didn't manage go skiing this winter. Here we have to pay attention to the verb manage, which should be followed by full infinitive. So the best answer is to go. In sentence number 2, my mother makes me tidy my room. In this sentence, we have to pay attention to the verb make, which should be followed by the bare infinitive. So the answer is tidy. In sentence number 3, I'm thinking of challenge Anas to a table tennis match. Here we have to pay attention to the preposition of, which should be followed by the ing form, challenging. Now let's have a look at rule number 4, conditional sentences type 2 and wishes. We have to correct the verbs in the following conversation between Ali and Maha. Ali says, I'm going to Barcelona next month. Maha replies, really? That's great. If I be you, I get a phrase book before I left. In this sentence, Maha gives Ali a piece of advice to take a phrase book before he left. So, he should use the expression, if I were you, because this expression is used to give advice. And to complete this conditional sentence type 2, we have to use would or could plus the base form of the verb get. So the answer is, I would get. Then Ali says, good idea. If I have more time, I take a Spanish language course. Unfortunately, Ali doesn't have more time, so he won't have a Spanish language course. In this case, we are talking about unreal condition, and for unreal conditions, we should use the past form of the verb. So the past of have is had, and we complete the sentence with would or could plus the base form of the verb take. So the answer is I would take. Then Maha says, I wish I can come with you. In this sentence, Maha shows regret about her present situation, that she can't go with Ali. So we change can into could, which is used to express regret about present situation. Dear students, rule number 5 is the last rule in our revision for today, the reported speech or indirect speech. Here we have to change the following from direct speech into reported speech. Before we start, we have to remember that we make some changes, such as the punctuation marks, the pronouns, the verbs, and the adverbs of time and place. So let's have a look now at sentence number 1. I'll do the housework this weekend, said Mona. In this sentence, we have to pay attention to I, will, and this, and we have to change them to a suitable form. Now let's have a look at the reported sentence. Mona said she would do the housework that weekend. Now as we can see, we changed I into she, will into would, and this into that. Let's now move to the second sentence, which is a command. This command says, take these vitamins for a month, the doctor said to me. This is a command because it starts with the verb take. And if I want to change it into the reported speech, we have to change the verb take and the word these. So it becomes like the following. The doctor told me to take those vitamins for a month. With commands, we have to add the word to before the verb, and we have to change these into those. Now, in sentence number 3, which is a command but in the negative, don't play football in the house, Ali's mother said. This sentence, we change it in the following way. Ali's mother told him not to play football in the house. So we changed don't play into not to play. In number 4, which is a WH question because it starts with why can't you come to the museum today? In this sentence we have to make some changes regarding to the position of the helping verb with the subject. So we have to swap between you and can't. Then we have to change the word today. So the reported sentence or question should be in the following way. Tom asked John why he couldn't come to the museum that day. Here we put why in its position, then we changed you into he and can't into couldn't, and we swapped position. Then we changed the word today into that day. In the last question, which is a yes/no question because it starts with the helping verb do, we have to cancel do when we change it into the reported speech and change the verb to a different tense. So the sentence becomes in the following way. My brother asked me if I liked mountain biking. With yes/no questions, we have to start with the word if or the word whether. Then we change the subject you into I, we cancel the helping verb do, and change the verb like into liked. Dear students, I hope that you enjoyed today's lesson. Please don't forget to log on to your Microsoft Teams account and do the quiz. Remember to submit your answers within 24 hours. That's all for today. Goodbye.